broadcast for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. This is the Firearms Radio Network. The bandwidth for this episode of Gun Guy Radio is sponsored by the Firearms Radio Network. FirearmsRadio.tv.
Welcome to episode 140 of Gun Guy Radio. This is a podcast that shines a positive light on the firearms lifestyle. I'm your host, Jake Challand, and this is your weekly dose of positive firearms talk without the politics. Welcome to the program. We have a great interview lined up for this week. Just a few announcements before we get going. If you are a Patreon contributor to Gun Guy Radio or This Week in Guns, I'm getting ready to ship out the Firearms Radio Network and Gun Guy Radio or This Week in Guns stickers, depending on what shows you're given to. Please double check your address on your Patreon account, and I will get those out here by the end of next week. It should be so. And if you're not a patron, please consider giving just $1 an episode, and I'll be sending you a Firearms Radio Network and Gun Guy Radio sticker as well. So you can also contribute to the Firearms Radio Network and Gun Guy Radio by shopping Amazon via our Amazon affiliate link on gunguyradio.com or firearmsradio.tv. Oh, and just a quick update. I had talked about how I got a new Springfield XDS 45 and how Springfield had their promotion where you get 3 free magazines with the purchase of any of their new handguns through October. I think it's through October 31st. So you're almost out of time here. But if you buy a new Springfield handgun, you get 3 free magazines in addition to the ones that come with the gun. And, you know, real easy. You just fill out an online form, serial number and stuff. And I think you also upload an image of the receipt, which I ordered my Springfield online, so I just took a screen capture of the email with the receipt, so that was easy. But it came really fast, came within 7 days, I think 7 days or less maybe. They came in a nice little like mini gun, plastic gun case, the 3 magazines, a magazine pouch, and then one of the extension adapters for the longer magazines. But nice little set. So just, you know, for any of you out there looking to maybe pick up a new Springfield, do it before October 31st so you can get 3 free magazines, because that's like, I don't know, $80 or so value, something like that. Welcome back to the Gun Guy Radio main topic, and we have on the line Cody Wilson of Defense Distributed, and also may possibly be one of the 15 most dangerous people in the world. Hey, Cody.
How's it going? Thanks for having me on.
That's not a title that they give out very often. That was, what, from Wired magazine? 15 most dangerous people in the world?
Yeah, Wired's got a division called the Danger Room, and its preoccupation was to assess who dangerous people were at the end of 2012. You know, I haven't seen the list since. Maybe it was one of the last times the list was made, but quite an interesting fraternity to be numbered among. They had Assad on there and hackers and terrorists from Russia and the Middle East. You know, it was an interesting number.
Very cool. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into firearms. Were you always kind of a gun guy, or did something else lead you into the firearm community?
I grew up in a family that hunted. My grandfather and my uncle had hunting clubs, and it was not uncommon for there to be hunting in my family and for Thanksgiving. But my specific, you know, like my immediate family, we never hunted, but we respected it. And of course, I went to a little school in Arkansas, and when hunting season came around, lots of the kids missed class. So it was a very common thing. I was brought up around it, like many people in the South are. And then when I was in Boy Scouts, a lot of people people were around firearms then as well. So I was always comfortable with those cultures, although I was never specifically in the firearms culture and never even owned a firearm myself until I was in my, early 20s. So I kind of was always from the outside looking in. And I would say that it wasn't even the artifacts themselves that brought me to the community so much as it was a certain sense of philosophy when I was in law school.
What triggered that? What kind of turned the corner for you to make you decide to buy a gun and then decide to start the 3D printing realm?
Well, for me, it was my studies. For a long time, I studied political philosophy and anarchist and what you could call libertarian political philosophy, and eventually I came to a place mentally that was about political action outside of what we call traditional politics. It's not really about voting. It's not really about representatives, bills, things like this. I was interested in categories of decision-making and action that could be singular and absolute and irreversible. These are the kind of top theoretical concerns of mine, and to not get too academic about it. And my friend and I, since we're in the same boat on these topics, one day we talked about what would it be like to be a digital gunsmith? What does the future look like for gunsmithing and for the people? And we started kind of considering what the current new digital technologies in manufacturing were. And so the question kind of backed us into, you could digitally manufacture firearms. And this started for us, the whole 3D printed gun project for 2012 and 2013. We arrived at it almost backwards. It wasn't first looking at guns. It was first being excited about a whole class of technology and its political implications, and then arriving at the gun as the kind of symbolic container of all those potentialities.
Very cool. And I guess take us a little bit through the story of when you first got into the 3D printing of firearms. Okay,
yeah. Like a lot of things, our familiarity and our expertise with these technologies and materials, and then eventually the firearms themselves, it came in stages. So we taught ourselves about the commercially available 3D printers, and this is in early 2012. And of course, the landscape has changed so much and the time since then. But we learned about the Z-Corp printers that print with sand, basically, and we learned about ceramic laser sintering, and we learned about metal laser sintering, all these classic technologies that were really outside of the do-it-yourself scene and the hobby scene. And then we learned about things that were what we call open source, where the technology and the software had been made available to the public, into the public domain, because of expired patents and technologies that the big corporate giants had let go from the time of their monopolies 20, 30 years ago. And there were really interesting projects done by like Professor Adrian Bowers in the UK, where the idea was, how can we take an extrusion-based printing system and have that system recreate as much of itself as possible? The idea was, how can the machines replicate themselves? And some really cool and interesting theoretical work. And within that movement, we saw extrusion printers as really, really easily available printers that most people didn't and weren't really aware that they could have. We're talking about $2,000, $3,000 printers in 2012 and early 2013, and mostly they were machines looking for a really cool application. And we thought, well, what if you could make rifle parts or even an entire gun on one of these machines? That might really change people's paradigms, and that's how we began everything.
I saw a movie about machines replicating themselves, and it didn't turn out so well. I'm just saying.
Yeah, most people with any access to science can know that once the robots start thinking, that once the machines start replicating of their own, you don't exactly get good time rock and roll. You get problems, and of course this is a bit of a nightmare scenario we were able to turn on what you could call our opposition during this project. Oh no, the technology has its own autonomy. There's no way to legislate it away. So in the end, we kind of used this tension and this discomfort to help propel the success of our own project.
Right, and so that brought you to the Liberator pistol, and that's a 3D printed gun that you can print entirely, except there's one metal part for the firing pin, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so the goal was always 100% printed pistol, and could it be done in polymer, could it be done in printable materials? And when we had, you need something a little bit harder than ABS, like the hardness needs to be pretty tough on a firing pin to get that primer going. And we weren't able to get that in ABS or PLA or really a number of other printable plastics, including nylon. And instead of recommending a certain different class of materials with the requisite hardness, we just decided, look, a common roofing nail is probably going to be what people have access to before they can get some, obscure or exotic class of printable. So yeah, we compromised on a roofing nail for the firing pin.
Very cool. And
I think they were Blue Hawk nails, real cheap ones from the Home Depot. And for a while, this is just perverse, but for a while I was selling them on my website for like $5 a piece. Of course, a box of these nails was like $5. So it was just like infinite Liberator pistol nails.
That's my kind of markup.
Yeah, there you go.
So you had I guess, difficulty with a 3D printer manufacturer early on. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, I think I know what you're asking, but so the first thing I started with was I didn't have a 3D printer, and I had asked people through my company, Defense Distributed, to help fund some of our work. We wanted to do a nonprofit, but we had really only got access to a few $1,000 in like 2012, and so I just went with the first group that offered their printer to me in Austin, and this happened to be a group that had a very expensive photopolymer object printer, and the material, while interesting, wasn't really great for our applications. Like, it wasn't really great at containing explosive forces, and I mean, that's probably the easiest way to say it. So in order to get a handle on what we were doing, we just started printing AR-15 lower receivers, and we had a lot of trouble with it. For many months, we were just breaking receivers, and we didn't know anything about finite element analysis or materials engineering. So we were just, this doesn't work this day. All right, mark that down. Let's try this, something else. So we beef up the pieces in software and just try different designs and try to simulate what a failure mode would be like. So for weeks and weeks, we were just messing with the AR-15, and then suddenly things began working. And when things began working and I began putting on YouTube, I attracted engineers, I attracted enthusiasts, and everybody likes a winner. And suddenly we started getting more talent onboarding, and then we were really teaching ourselves what to do, and now a whole class of printers. Lots of people were volunteering SLA machines and ABS FDM machines, and all of a sudden it was like, okay, we were learning a whole lot really quickly, and it was one of the more beautiful moments of my life, just a moment of pure exploration and learning, and it was happening so quickly, and within 3-4 months into early 2013, we had all this research that we had done that no one had really done before on how these materials behave in ballistics applications. Very
cool. It's cool to see the engineering community come around behind you on a project like that.
For sure.
The Liberator pistol kind of blew up. Did you expect to get that kind of notoriety from that project?
No. When we began, WikiWeapon is what we called it before I settled on Liberator. I didn't know. I thought, first of all, I'm always naive about things. I thought it would happen quickly, and I thought I would have to kind of struggle to get people to pay attention to the fact that it had happened. But so the delay, there were certain political reasons we had a delay, and then of course there was Sandy Hook and all the affair with the discussion of the new round of gun control, and then this happened kind of right at the tail end of that. And you could tell about a month before that it was going to be a big deal if we did it in that time window. And of course, when we did, everybody stepped in. And though I wasn't prepared for the response, I expected something like it. And it was, like you might guess, it was pretty overwhelming.
Now, a lot of people would say, that's crazy shooting, a round out of an all plastic 3D printed gun. You're just asking for trouble, or asking to maybe amputee your own hand, or.
I won't disagree. It is a little. It takes a little bit of irrationality. I mean, and that's to put it kindly, right? I would say, we're totally in the novice, amateur, outside of reasonable science. This has no application. There's a reason this was never done the way we've done it before, and it's because there's no good reason to do it. So I get what that criticism would be, but for me and for my project, I thought it was important to capture that spectacle, to have that image, and then to try to write on top of that a certain message about the future of our technological systems and how they were kind of loosening our political will and constraints. And for me, it was worth it. I thought I could message it hard enough, and I think largely I succeeded.
Liberator names after the pistols that were made during World War II to drop into France for the resistance, right?
That's right. Yeah, there's a pistol drop, a stamped metal pistol program that the War Department had considered for a while, kind of way of unnerving the Germans, as I understand it. It was never put into full effect, but I think they printed or stamped 500,000 of these things and were ready to drop them. Maybe they never had the nerve, but then we did. And so a kind of linchpin of that project was going back into history, finding that kind of incomplete moment and mining some of its mythology, and then trying to lay claim the completion of that moment.
All right. Well, let's jump forward to your current project. You know, we've heard politicians talk about ghost guns, and I see you even utilized some audio from some of those politicians in one of your promotional videos, which was very well done.
Thank you.
And so and then there's the whole. It's almost like a makers movement inside the firearms community of 80% lower AR-15s, and so you've kind of melded, you know, your past experience with 3D printing and Liberator pistol into this. I don't know what, lack of better terms, makers movement for lower receivers without serial numbers. So I guess take us kind of through that journey. How did you decide to get into the business of creating your own, home-based CNC manufacturing machine for AR-15 lowers?
Right. I think I can answer that simply enough. The political class, or at least the class interested in restricting access to homemade firearms and largely abrogating or abridging your right to own a firearm as an individual, had settled upon some new rhetoric after they had watched the 3D printed gun thing happen. And one of the neologisms here is Ghost Gun. And as soon as I heard that, DeLeon, I think, and the California Democrats came up with Ghost Gun as a term. I hadn't seen it anywhere else before. Pretty good. I mean, give credit to where credit's due. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, this is going to be a new political colloquialism. Now they've got it. Our goal as Defense Distributed, if we can make a play on this, our goal should be to take that, literalize it, because the whole goal of the California Democrats, as I understood it, was to kind of confuse or conflate homemade guns without serial numbers versus the problem of plastic guns made on 3D printers, which was these plastic guns weren't necessarily as detectable by traditional detection equipment. And they wanted to confuse that issue with traceable in the sense of serial numbers and databases, and kind of merge them together, and then to say that all homemade guns are undetectable in a broad general security sense. If the state doesn't know about them, they're undetectable firearms. This is a kind of clever way of gun control by another means. And I thought, while clever, it could still be short-circuited and used against them. And so DeLeon and all these other people were saying, well, there's a large market for ghost guns. They're referring to the 80% receiver trade and some other things. And we thought, well, though they're engaging in hyperbole, we can literalize what they're talking about. We can market it, and we could sell it back to them. And in fact, even give discounts to California residents. And so there's a kind of perverse. So you get what I'm going here. There's almost an ill will here to give them that world they're describing. And so that was the logic that tied up with some of the theory of Defense Distributed. We could actually create a more real-than-real version of what some of these politicians were describing, even though all this stuff had already happened. There's already an 80% receiver trade. There's already machining, traditional machining of lowers on CNCs. But it was like I knew that we could put it in a very visible and just very strong package. Call it a ghost gun, trademark it as a Ghost Gunner, and give it back to them in a way that would unnerve them. And I think that worked, and it hit a certain sweet spot in a way that brings it encourages our friends and it innervates our enemies.
And it's still got some of the media discombobulated because I saw one article where it's like this machine will 3D print and CNC your lower.
Yeah, we're beginning to. So the media never ever understood the gun space, and they still don't understand just how easy it is to make a gun. A lot of this is so abstracted to them, and kind of beyond just MSM narratives and easy sound bites, that they don't even take the time to investigate it. And when they do, they discover it like it was somehow just invented and hasn't been done for 20 years. So there's a lot of things working both in our favor and against us. And instead of traditionally, trying to educate everyone and inform them, like, no, you don't have to worry about this. It's been done forever. It seems too often the gun community is playing defense and trying to kind of bite its tongue. And there's certain times when you can take the ball and run with it and kind of wag your finger and humiliate some of these people because they deserve it. And it's okay if the media misunderstands it. I recognize that there might be disagreement in some of the tactics that my company uses, and of course we run the risk of public policy responses based on how we do our project. But in the case of California, in the case of ghost guns, that bill was just about a signature away from happening anyway, and that would have banned all homemade guns in the entire state of California. So I feel like it wasn't it wasn't too early to start a project like this and try to take some risks.
Let's talk a little bit about the actual machine itself and how it works, what kind of parts you need. Because from what I'm seeing, you need an actual 80% lower. You're not going to just drop a brick of raw aluminum in there or steel.
Right. And although we're working on the workflow now, we see how much demand there is to just go from 0% to 100. So that's, of course, an order of magnitude more difficult. We thought we could just kind of drop our machine into the 80% discourse, if you will, and everyone would understand automatically what to do with it. So we're beginning, like day one, when we ship these machines, they'll be capable of doing 80% AR-15 and AR-10 receivers. And the whole idea is just have an easy dismount solution on a bar at the top. And we have a plastic jig. We call it a jig. I know the CNCers just call them mounts. We have other words for it, but pay it fast and loose with the words here. No disrespect to the gun-specific community. So the whole idea is you line the part up, you put it in the machine. The machine auto-indexes to the workpiece, and then everything else is handled in software. And it's trying to be as user-friendly as possible, both in the software and the hardware. So ideally, you press start, you have one tool change, and then you're done. And this is a replicable process, and there's not as much room for error as if you were a novice, let's say gunsmith or amateur gunsmith trying to do this with hand tools.
Alien Gear Holsters, the most comfortable and concealable holsters on the planet, is offering big savings with our new 2-holster combo. Now you can buy 2 complete holsters for as little as $49.88. Choose from any available holster styles and colors for the guns of your choice. All of Alien Gear's quality products are made right here in the USA and include a 30-day trial, forever warranty, and free shell trades for life. Visit aliengearholsters.com today.
You have plans for other firearms, possibly AR-10s and 1911s?
Yeah, the AR-10 is a definite. We've committed to the AR-10. There's space in this build envelope to do that as well. So we've committed to the software there. Though I have not seen the software finished for the AR-10 yet, but it can be done in the next couple of months. We're committed to 1911 frames.
Now, is there going to be any required modification to the machine to work on possibly these future firearm frames?
So no, right now I could say that the software we want to release for this iteration of the machine will just require this machine. So we don't want people to have to buy extra parts. We don't want people to have to modify it. That said, it's an open platform, and a big aspect of this project is that it will continue to be open source, both in hardware and software. And so you will probably see variants and modifications of the machine, both on and off the market. And that's something that we'll try to support as best we can. But, the hope is that people take the tool and turn it into the tool that they need. But the tool that we're putting out, we're hoping is a good enough starting place for you to be able to do plenty of things without needing to change it from the configuration we've got.
And in, I guess, layman's terms, can you describe for people, if they order this machine, how are they going to have to set it up? What kind of knowledge base are they going to have to run the programs and stuff like that?
Okay. Well, unlike other machines and kits at this price point, this machine will ship to you fully assembled, ready to go, standard IEC plug-in. So like a 2-prong, you're used to plugging stuff like this into the wall. Put it into the wall, get the power on. It's got a USB cord. Most people are familiar with USB. Put that in your computer. There's some software that will come with it. That's just a simple install. Right now it's on Windows. Well, we should have it by Mac in time for the new year. And if you're used to putting on an application on your computer, you'll be able to do this. And the user interface can be able to take you from there. I mean, the whole idea is, drag and drop your part file, put your part in the machine kind of gives you the steps. Step 1, 2, 3, all right, press the button, you're good to go. I mean, it's really trying to hold your hand. And so if you're used to doing things as complex as, web email, logging into your Gmail account, putting on attachments, this is as complex as the workflow is going to get for you. So I'm expecting a whole class of people, including senior citizens and those people who might claim to be tech illiterate, will still be able to use this machine.
Very cool. Sounds like you could even, teach a class at the community college how to CNC your own 80% lower.
We should hope. I really think this is not going to be and in fact, it's going to put the lie to a lot of this old technology. I don't know how to use that. Well, when you want to manufacture your 80% lower to completion, we're going to see a whole bunch of people figuring out how to use the technology. So I think it's going to be surprising.
Very cool. And how soon is this shipping, and what kind of price point are we looking at?
Okay, well, unfortunately or fortunately, we've already sold out for all of 2014 and for the first quarter of 2015. So I've got a paid waiting list right now. If people just absolutely got to have it, got to have the next swipe at the next batch that are available. So you can go to ghostgunner.net, check out the specs on the machine, what we're planning to do, and of course there's going to be lots of reviews of the machine coming out in the media in the next month and 2 months. So I encourage people to get on the waiting list if you absolutely got to have it. But we are scaling up our manufacturing in Austin, and so I expect somewhere in quarter 1, 2015 to begin taking orders again. Other than that, email me. I'll tell you about it.
Very cool. And what's I guess, Cody, tell me what's in the future for you and Defense Distributed.
I would like to commit to supporting this machine for a while. This is open hardware, and it's very possible that people can take this concept and run with it in a way that we can't, because we're just a garage outfit. We're mostly software people. This is our first hardware project. I just really would like to give the gun community something that it can embrace and that can help it perform what they deem as essential tasks. Does it actually help people complete 80% lower? Does it lend to people a sense of security and privacy in the possession of their own firearms, especially against the eyes of an intrusive state? If it does do that, and if we can help people feel that way, then I will consider this project to be a success, and we'll attempt to do other projects in the same vein. We want to support your right to keep and bear arms and expand your material capacities in those respects as well. I would consider that the purpose of my organization.
Very cool. And I've talked with some other guys in the firearms community before, maybe even on air on some of the shows, about how great it would be someday to have a machine and just, be able to create any gun part. Have it, whether it's 3D print or CNC, if you break apart on, like in, whether it's a common gun or, applications for this could go anywhere. Even looking at antique guns where you can't get the parts for them anymore, but you could make one. How far down the road do you think that technology and equipment is for the firearms community?
I think we're at the cusp of it right now. I really do, and to give you some stuff I haven't given anybody else yet, we're working on a coolant solution that might even be able to ship in this one. We don't currently have anything other than an air cooling solution in this product, but if this coolant solution works, then we're talking about being able to machine steel, and then we're talking about a much wider class of parts and articles that you can make related to firearms. And that's really, then you're in a domain of, well, do I have the file? Do I have the machinable dimensions? And then do I have the imagination? So we're quickly approaching a technical means and vocabulary to make just about anything we want, resources notwithstanding. So I'm optimistic that domain is largely on the horizon.
Right, because we could get to a point where the community could, via internet and everything, accumulate those files, those specs for a huge library of parts. Right.
And Defense Distributed, for the longest, as 2013, we ran perhaps the largest firearms file part database on the internet. We ran into some trouble with the State Department on that one, but we're coming back around and rebuilding that library in a way that fits them less than the original way we did it. And I got to tell you, it didn't take us long to get there. I can see very vividly. In fact, I'm yearning for creating myself for the people one such part database or exchange that will very quickly become comprehensive or encyclopedic. And you can see that coming. I'm right there. I look at it every day. So that stuff's coming.
Well, very cool. Welcome to the future. So, Cody, where can listeners get in touch with you guys online, and where's the best place? Your website, Facebook, other social media?
Sure. There's Defense Distributed is on Facebook, but you can see our website at defdis.org, GhostGunner.net is where we're selling CNC machine. That will probably become a platform for other files and offerings. And then, we're on Twitter. So just find my email, and we're really easy to talk to and get a hold of.
Very cool. Well, I really appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing all the innovation you guys bring to the industry.
It's a real pleasure. Thank you for having me. I hope we can come back to you.
Well, again, a big thank you to Cody for coming on the program. Really looking forward to the cool, innovative things they come up with in the future, especially things that have more real-world applications like their new CNC machine. It's a little more realistic, I think, than the 3D printed Liberator pistol. But, cool stuff nonetheless. Alien Gear Holsters make this show possible. AlienGearHolsters.com. Check them out. I'm really enjoying my Alien Gear holster for the Springfield XDM or XDS. I'm still waiting for my Illinois concealed carry license so I can wear it somewhere other than home or the studio here. But it's a great holster. Really enjoying that. And also Duluth Trading Company also makes this show possible. And Duluth has a lot of new products on their website, like Shoreline Fleece for his and her. I always call it manly workwear and stuff like that, but don't discount it. I mean, for the ladies out there, if for your wife or anyone, they have really an awesome women's section as well. So just as expansive as the men's workwear, they have ladies workwear. They have long tail T-shirts for the ladies. I know that's a kind of a big complaint for my wife is some of the shirts, made for ladies are cut so high that anytime she bends over, she's showing the sideways smile, and so that's something you can check out at Duluth, even if you're a lady. So Duluth Trading Company, you can get to them through the banner ad on our website or gunguyradio.com/Duluth. And always I put a special link to a product that I recommend from Duluth in the show notes. Let's talk a little bit about our Patreon. All I'm going to say is, please consider giving $1 an episode. We have higher levels that you get lots of swag, like swag from LA Police Gear, like their ammo cans, their bailout bags, their hats, their tactical flashlights, and then Duke Cannon Supply Company also with their manly bars of soap, their 5-pack soap gift packs that come in a steel ammo can. And then also GunGoddess.com giving you a $25 gift card if you give it the $15 level. But really, you don't have to give it the $15 level. You can just ask you give $1 per episode. It helps out a lot, keeps these programs coming. And also next week next few weeks, I think we'll be announcing some other cool swag that will be coming your way. And also, if you're looking for awesome graphic design, check out Ryan Cross, hunterofdesign.com. Well, that wraps it up. Please share your thoughts, feedback by commenting on the bottom of the show notes. This week's show notes are at gunguyradio.com/140. And also, please subscribe via iTunes or Stitcher Radio, however you listen. Please subscribe, leave a review. Also, please consider joining the NRA and the Second Amendment Foundation. I'm a member of both of those organizations that fight for our firearms rights and do great things that we as individuals just can't accomplish alone. So don't forget to shop Brownells using our affiliate link. Don't forget to shop Amazon using our affiliate link. Big shout out to a listener. I forgot to put his name in the show notes, but he wrote me and he's been using his Amazon affiliate link to order stuff for his business or maybe the company he works for. But I mean, that's just blows me away. That's huge. So if you're like in a company where you do purchases for the company through Amazon or stuff like that, please consider using Amazon for that too. It doesn't change anything on their end. You're just helping out the show a little bit. So firearmsradio.tv/Amazon is an easy way to get there, or you can just click through the affiliate banners on the site. And big thank you to everyone using our affiliate links. And don't forget to check out all the other awesome shows on the Firearms Radio Network, firearmsradio.tv/iTunes. That's a wrap, and we'll see you next week.
This has been a production of the Firearms Radio Network. You can find more information at firearmsradio.tv. Load and make ready. Are you a competitive shooter or aspiring to be one? Want to get into the fun and exciting sport of practical shooting? Check out the Power Factor Show, the only video podcast that covers IDPA, USPSA, 3-gun, and sporting clays. Go to PowerFactorShow.com or search iTunes and your favorite podcatcher app for Power Factor Show. Are you ready? Stand by.